This show is sponsored by Sevi, answering all your commercial real estate needs. Sevi is the first commercial real estate company committed to the 4 C's: commercial real estate, community, content, and culture. Go visit Sevi at Sevi, SEVI, properties.com. Again, SeviProperties.com. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DMV Business Show. I'm your host, Otto Sevilla, and today I have a very special guest for us. We have Carl Brown. Carl is the director of the DC Small Business Development Center at Howard University, among other things. Welcome to the show, Carl.
Oh yeah, thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm looking forward to this. I mean, the
Likewise.
DMV is so special, and as far as small businesses are concerned, we really look forward to helping all the small businesses, especially in today's climate where a lot of people are losing their jobs, and small business is an alternative to looking for a new job.
Yeah, the DMV is a special place for that. Speaking of the DMV, are you originally from here?
New York City, my friend, New York City.
Ah, New York City. Okay. Where in New York?
Jamaica, Queens.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I grew up in a place called Rochdale Village out in Jamaica, Queens, right close to Kennedy Airport. And another thing we were close to would be Newton Wells. So, a lot of people think that New York is just skyscrapers and concrete. New York is surrounded by water, and people forget that. I mean, I used to ride my bike to the beach or take the bus to the beach and spend the whole day at the beach all the time. I mean, Long Island was full of beaches: Jones Beach, Long Beach. I mean, all out. You go out to Montauk Point where Jaws was filmed. I mean, all that. I mean, New York's surrounded by water. It's an island, so we spend most of the summers on the beach. So, but yeah, New York City, my friend, New York City.
Jamaica Queen, Carl, isn't no, I was thinking of Nas, but Nas is from Queens. No, I'm sorry, Nas is from Harlem, I
Yeah,
think.
no, Nas is from Queensbridge. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely Queens. Yeah,
Okay.
but I mean, Jamaica Funk, Tom Brown, Marcus Miller, Run DMC. I
There we
mean,
go.
LL
Yeah.
Cool J. I mean, we could go down the list, and then we can go backwards. I mean, we can go Count Basie. I mean, Duke Ellington lived there for a minute. So there's so much talent coming out of Jamaica, Queens.
Yes.
So it was like something that people wanted to know, early on. Well, did you sing? Were you in a band? I mean, there was so much going on in Jamaica, Queens when I was going through high school. It was just crazy.
I was going to ask you, how was it growing up in Jamaica, Queens? Like, what were you into? What would you like to do maybe outside of school?
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you, academics was number one in our house. My parents didn't play, bringing bees into the house. They were like, hey, closest thing we want to a B is an A minus. So it was all about academics. So we had to excel academically, but also there was a balance between, playing sports. So I played football and baseball and a little bit of basketball, but I wasn't, I was height challenged on the basketball. But football and baseball were my two main sports. My younger brother was in the handball. I played handball too, but he was like all city and handball and all that. Academically, we excelled. I mean, he went to Ivy League. I went to Howard. It was very competitive. Jamaica Queens was very competitive. My neighborhood was very competitive. And I'm not talking sports, I'm talking academics. Parents over there, they did not play. I mean, so many doctors and lawyers, and I mean, Victoria Christopher Murray, she's like published 30 some odd books. I mean, and then you had your artists that were coming through Jamaica Queens, like I pointed out, I mean, so it was very, very competitive. In fact, one of my friends told my son over the summer, Miles Skillings, he was in the rock band Living Color, and he was the bass player. And we went to Brooklyn Tech together. And he was telling my son, he said, yo, kids would come to my house with their bass and they would challenge me, and so that's how we were. I mean, we didn't take anything for granted. I mean, when you got into the weight room, you were lifting weights to prepare for football, people were like, yo, you only doing 300? Oh, okay. Well, that's what I used to do. I mean, it was very competitive, man. Very competitive. And that's why you see all of these superstar rock stars like LL Cool J and all. That's why you see, because we were iron sharpening iron the whole time we were growing up. I mean, you got an A, okay, I'm gonna try and get an A plus. I mean, that's the way it was. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna just be mediocre. Nah, it was never about being mediocre, and we were fashionable. So we would go like in junior high school, 12, 13 years old, we would go to the tailor shop and get our clothes tailor-made.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, with your name on it. And that's where, I swear to God, man, that's where Calvin Klein and all them got their stuff from. They got it from us because we were wearing our names on our clothes back then in the early 70s, man.
Okay.
So that's where Calvin Klein got it from. That's why Run DMC said Calvin Klein ain't no friend of mine. I don't want nobody's name on my behind. I mean, because you had your own name on your stuff. We used to wear belts with our name. I used to wear mine with CB Rock, because I was always in the gym rocking them weights. So I was like, before the Rock, Dwayne Johnson, it was Carl Brown was the Rock, baby.
The OG.
Yeah, man. We were doing our thing. We were doing our thing, and that's what the competitiveness brings you all through life. I mean, I don't care what it is. You always want to be good at what you do, and I to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, I read every day. I listen to podcasts. I listen to books. I mean, I'm looking at the news. I'm looking at documentaries, all that, because I always want to be. I want to be competitive today. When I walk in the room, I want to be knowledgeable. So when you start talking about a subject, I can join right in. As opposed to people who are just like the plants or the pictures on the wall. They hope you just walk by them and you don't even notice them because they ain't got nothing to bring to the conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I love that. So you came down here to DC to attend Howard University, right, Carl?
Yes, sir. Went to Howard 1979. Was landed in Washington, D.C.
When you came to Howard, did you know immediately what you wanted to major in, or did that come later on? Okay.
Oh yeah. See, growing up in New York, I wanted to be a diplomat or a stockbroker, one of the other.
Okay.
So I came into Howard as an international business major, all right? Because I wanted to travel the world on somebody else's dime.
Of course.
And I had not diplomats living in Jamaica, Queens with us in Rochdale, but the folks that worked at the UN lived in Rochdale. So you got to, see them, meet them. They were from all over the world. And so, and like I said, they would work for the diplomats. So you would, learn about what was going on at the UN and all that good stuff. And then their kids were going to school with you if they weren't going to the UN school. So, you got to meet those people and got to understand, how they would fly back to their home country during certain periods and then come back like during the summer, they would go home and then they would come back. So, I mean, it was just a wonderful experience to learn about all that. And I said, well, hey, you know what? my father's always preached to us, go see the world, because when he was growing up, after high school, when he graduated when he was 15, he had to wait a couple of years, and then he went into the Air Force, and he went to see the world through being in the military. So that's the same thing I wanted to do, but not spend my money, live on other people's dimes.
So once you graduated from Howard University, what did you go into what you wanted, or what happened afterwards?
No, I got caught up in the Ronald Reagan voodoo economics, man. 83, it was like nobody was hired. It was like we I went home and we were looking and looking and looking, and just jobs were not plentiful. So I did go into aviation though. I was a sky cap at LaGuardia Airport for a minute, and did some traveling through there. I worked for US Air for a while, and then I got tired of that. I wanted to go into what I really studied for, and so I made a phone call back down in Washington D.C. and I used to volunteer at the Urban League in the business office, and I would help people write their resumes when I volunteered over there. And so I called the lady that was running the shop. I told her my plight was I was looking for a job that would help me get into the field that I wanted to go into. And she said, I mean, this is the basic conversation. She said, okay, well, I got you. Click. I said, wow, that was the quickest brush off I ever experienced. 2 weeks later, this guy called me up and said, Ms. Fisher told me to hire you. When can you start? Bang. That was the whole interview.
Okay.
When can you start? And then I moved back down here and started my career, but it wasn't in international business. It was I was working for the federal government, and then I left the federal government and went into the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, and I was at first a procurement agent, and then became a contract officer for the Park and Planning Commission. So I worked on projects like the College Park Airport Museum, the Prince George's Equestrian Center. Worked on the revitalization of the Route 1 corridor, where you see, we've done phenomenal, changed it phenomenally since, back in the early 80s when I was there. I worked on the revitalization or redevelopment of downtown Silver Spring. So prior to the project that we worked on, you can literally close the Silver Spring up at 5 o'clock every day. Everybody went home. That was it. It was nothing. No restaurants, nothing. Nothing like it is now. It's a vibrant area of entertainment at this point, but back then it was absolutely nothing. Other projects that I worked on, I purchased the land for the Northwest Field, the Commanders Field, where the Commanders play now. And then shortly after that, I left Park and Planning and went to work for Earl Graves at his Pepsi plant in Forestville. And we serviced parts of Prince George's County and the District of Columbia. That was a great experience, because Earl Graves and Magic Johnson owned the Pepsi plant there. And I got to work with them and learn about them and learn from them how to do business. And that was the main thing. I was one of the 4 senior managers over there, so I had help in the direction or provided help in the direction of the franchise. And we made a ton of money. And so much so that Pepsi bought the franchise back from Earl Graves and took it over because we were so successful in what we did. So success, competition, those are 2 things another thing that it's about that I talk about all the time is consistency. Now, when I left Pepsi, I went over to Verizon, and that was a wonderful experience for me. They gave me a signing bonus like I was an NBA star or something. Man, that was crazy. I was like, wow, I thought only athletes got this, but I got one too. So it was a wonderful thing. Let me tell you, Verizon was a family environment. So leaving one good environment, going over to Verizon was wonderful. I couldn't say enough about it. We had a real good time. We worked hard, we played hard. I was in Verizon Federal, so our customer was the federal government. So we were selling products and services to the federal government every day. And I mean every day. I mean, it would be 3, 4, 5 purchase orders coming from each different agency, So, you were always working. It wasn't like you were waiting for the big one. Although I was on the teams that went after the big ones as well, but we did a lot of day in, day out work. So that was that past performance that I talked to small minority businesses, small businesses, that you got to have past performance. And if you don't have that, you're not going to be successful in getting government contracts. And how you can build on past performance is this. You can team up with a Verizon and get your past performances with them. And when I was there, we would always talk about the good work that our small businesses did. So it wasn't like it was a secret, like, oh yeah, we're not going to send a Verizon at $100 an hour when I send a tech from a small business at $50 to $60 an hour. I'm making that profit. That's profit for us. So, I'm not doing that. And so that's why we were so successful and profitable, because we see it the work. I mean, that's what you do. But so many small businesses were able to get that past performance and then bid on contracts themselves as the prize, and they weren't really competing against us because they were still working with us. So, it was all good. It was all good.
How long were you? Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how long were you at Verizon for, Carl?
I was there a little over 3 years.
Okay.
A little over 3 years. I made the transition because we bought the WorldCom building out in Ashburn. And I was actually at Courthouse Road. And prior to Courthouse, I was on 18th Street over there by the old executive office building. And I just bought a house and my kids were like 3 years old. And I bought a house in Bowie. And I was like, going from Bowie to Ashburn is like 48 miles. Yeah, that's
on a good day.
You see where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this is DMV, baby. I mean, 48 miles, during traffic, it's like 2 hours, man.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way I kiss my kids goodbye and go to work and then come back home and they're 20 years old. Nah, I wasn't doing that. So I transitioned, went over to Metro. And worked there for a couple of years. Didn't really like the environment. It wasn't what I was used to at Pepsi or Verizon. It was about getting work done. It was about achievement, success. Metro was quasi-government, and it wasn't really what I didn't really fit in. So I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. But then the opportunity came up where at Prince George's Community College, where a friend of mine who was a college professor sent me a job description of what evolved into the Center for Minority Business Development, which was a grant from Milt Peterson, who is the developer of the National Harbor. And Milt wanted to build a center where you could teach minority businesses how to grow and sustain their business and create a pipeline of opportunities out in National Harbor through this program. And so I met with Milt, and Milt and his family and his team, great people. We put this program together, developed a pipeline of opportunity for minority businesses in Prince George's County to bid on and win these lucrative jobs out at National Harbor. So I did that for about 5 years. And like I said, Milt was a great guy. I mean, I sat with Milt, I listened to him, I listened to his vision. I mean, he was a billionaire. I think the first billionaire that really had good, real conversations with. Met some others, basically a handshake and a pat on the back as I was walking by. Hi, get out, that kind of thing. But Milt and I sat in his office. We talked. I mean, he's passed on now, but I can tell you this: he really cared about his community. He really cared about the development of National Harbor. He wanted to bring something special to Prince George's County, and he wanted to be inclusive of not just people coming out to see National Harbor and experience, all of the shops and all of the stuff that he put out there, but also to experience opportunities to make money. And so that was one of the things, and that's why I brought me on. So, and Milt was like, I want you to produce a TV show to highlight what we're doing out in National Harbor. So I put together the Emerging Business Report, and we were on the air for like 4 years. And we shot video at Prince George's Community College for 4 years. I mean, it was a great experience, real good experience. But meeting Milt and understanding what he was trying to accomplish and how he was opening doors of opportunity for small and minority businesses, that was his goal. So that was a good thing.
That was amazing. When you were with him, Carl, how are you getting the word out to the community there in Prince George's County as far as, we have this center here, this is what we do, we're here to help you. Was it grassroots just going there, or how'd you go about finding those businesses to bring in?
It was grassroots, and it was grassroots. Believe me, it was grassroots. We went, I went out to many luncheons, dinners, meetings. I mean, every time the county had a meeting, I would piggyback on it. Chambers of Commerce, I would go to their meetings. We would go out constantly to talk about the program and its benefits, because Milt wanted to be successful. He didn't want to just give them $5 million and just throw the money over the fence and okay, have at it. Lions on meat. No, that's not what his intent was. His intent was to have a viable program that could be like a beacon to other states, other municipalities around the country. He wanted to show that, hey, if you got money, you can finance these kinds of programs and show benefit and build your community. And so that's why I like working with Milt. A lot of people had assumptions of Milt Peterson, but they never talked to the guy. I had him in his office, and in fact, he gave us his office to shoot the video of the Emerging Business Report. So if you go on YouTube and all that, look it up, you'll see the National Harbor is the backdrop to the show. It's like people when I told people I had a, little cable TV show, the first impression was, oh, 2 chairs and a fig leaf tree in the middle, right? No. When they saw it, they were like, oh my God, that is real.
Yeah.
it was real. And that was Milt Peterson's commitment to Prince George's County. I mean, he gave $5 million. All right. Gave, every year he gave him $1 million for 5 years. So, I mean, it wasn't like he was just saying things. He was actually putting his money where his mouth was. And then he was putting it, utilizing the contractors that came through the program as long as they could do work out at National Harbor, because at the time we didn't have businesses that were of the size that could do the work to build the buildings. But they definitely could do the maintenance work. They could do some of the demolition and all that other stuff that comes along with construction. Now we got a couple of businesses that can build those buildings. Korenic is one of them. Bronson Cooper. I mean, he comes to mind when you think about, building buildings at this point. I mean, but at that time, Brunson was, he was just starting out his business. And so it's a beautiful thing to see Brunson grow to where he is today, and he came from corporate. So he was at Turner learning, and that's what I try to teach people all the time. You got these skills that you learn from corporate America, you can transform them into your business. It's not like you can just use them for large businesses, you can use them for your small business. All the skills that I learned, how to negotiate, how to dealing with the lawyers when they're going after certain contractors that weren't doing the right thing, how to negotiate pricing on product, how to place product in different places, how to, put deals together, what works, what doesn't work. I mean, all those skills that I used in corporate America and for the government are transferable. And now I'm giving them for free to people that come through the Small Business Development Center at Howard University. All of that knowledge I'm giving away free.
Yeah, that's great. From there, is that when you transitioned into Howard University?
Yeah, from Prince George's Community College, I transitioned over to Howard. That was like 9 years ago. And I did a stint at DDOT.
Okay.
I was recruited to come in. Mayor Gray had put this new initiative out, and he wanted a whole bunch of contract officers to be deployed into the agencies to work with them, as opposed to OCP, Office of Contracts and Procurement, which is located at 441 4th Street. Mayor Gray wanted the contract officers to be dispersed into the agencies. And so because of my tenure at Metro, I landed at DDOT. And two projects that I'm proud to say I worked on was the streetcar project and the Frederick Douglass Bridge, the new bridge that was built. That project was laboring around on somebody's desk for a while, and they brought me in and said, "Well, hey, we got to get this thing up and running, and this bridge's got to be built." And we fast tracked that bad boy, and look at it now. I mean, it's a pedestrian bridge. You can walk across, you can exercise, ride your bike. 70,000 cars cross the bridge daily. It's a beautiful bridge. It's aesthetically pleasing, and it's a gateway to the city. And it's over there by the Audi Stadium, Nat Stadium and Audi Stadium. So it's a welcome addition to the community over there. And so many people take advantage of it with, walking, biking, and all that, running, jogging, and all that over there. So, it was a wonderful thing. So I'm very proud of what I've done over the years. And then the opportunity at Howard came about, and I said, well, hey, this is the end of my career at this point, and I'm going to give 150% every day, to give away the knowledge that I've acquired over the years to the small and local businesses right here in the District of Columbia, because they deserve this type of, experience. They deserve this education, and I'm giving it to them every day.
When you came to Howard University, did you immediately come to the Small Business Development Center?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you've been doing this for 9 years with them then.
Right. Yep.
Okay, great. And how did it look then, the center, compare how it looks like today?
Well, before we had a lot of turnover, and I addressed that issue because you want to build confidence with your clientele. All right. If you go somewhere and every time you go there, somebody new, especially when you're talking about counseling in small business, you go there and I'm talking to Carl, and then you call back, oh, I can't get in touch with Carl. Oh, we got Dave. Dave's really good. And then I talk to Dave for 2 weeks, and then I can't find Dave. What happened to Dave? Oh, Dave left. Oh, we got Shirley. Shirley's wonderful, and I'm still in square one. I'm not moving forward. I'm just going into your do loop. I'm in your circle of chaos at this point. So I'm not moving forward. I'm in the circle. So I'm not using you. And then I'm gonna tell my friends, hey, don't go over there, man. They suck. They're awful. They're terrible. I took care of all of that. Also, I brought in people that are small business owners, okay, that have advanced degrees. So I built the profile. I wanted my counselors to be small business owners that have advanced degrees, that want to work with small businesses, that have a subject matter that they are an expert in, okay? So this is what I'm bringing to you every single day, all right? So I'm bringing subject matter experts that are small business owners, because they're not telling you, well, in this book on page 25, it says if you want to do marketing, you should do this. Huh? What? No, I want somebody that's out there doing it, that's done it, that's doing it for themselves. And now they can transfer that skill to you. They can show you how to do it, because they've been doing it. My cyber security guy has I always brag about him. There's like 15 acronyms behind his name. All right. He's got every certification is out there. And that's what you're supposed to do. If you want to be the expert, go out there and get expert credentials, because people will pay for that. I pay for that. You don't have to pay for that. But what it brings is credibility to myself, that I have someone on my team that has all of those credentials that you're looking for to help you grow your business.
These counselors, Carl, are they still working and they have their own small business, or did they leave that and are now transitioning to a counselor role with you at Howard?
No, they all still have their own small business.
Okay, so they're doing this more like a part-time basis, or trying to get back to the community type of thing.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so we have conversations about that, because everyone's not available all the time. But once they get a list of clients, once they have their client database, they focus on those clients. They work those clients, and they meet with them, at a schedule that is convenient to both parties.
Sure.
Okay. And so, you're not only going to get one counselor when you're dealing with us, you get multiple counselors, because then you coming in, and I got general counselors that work with you on your business plan and all that. But then we got marketing, we got cybersecurity, we got retail, we got restaurants, that kind of thing. So you now getting into specialty. And so you might have one counselor, but he brings in 2 or 3 other counselors, because you're going through and growing at this point. So now you need different skill sets. you know. So it's not like one, jack of all trade, master of none. No, we bring in the masters of those trades because that's what's important. We want you to learn from experts, not people that are looking through a book while you're looking through the book. I mean, that's so passe. That's not what's helping small businesses grow. It's about, you got to meet with the experts and you learn something from all the people. And then the other thing that we do is we also introduce you to other programs. A lot of people say, well, why would you introduce your businesses or your clients to other programs? Because they're free. And I say, take advantage of everything that is available to you. You're going to learn things. There's other people have, I put age myself, Rolodexes that you need to have access to, or contacts, you need access to those people. They might have a pipeline to a bank that gives loans or grants to the customer base for that program. I mean, so whatever the reason is, I'm going to help you learn about these programs, and it's up to you. If you want to go in and be a part of their program as well, and I encourage that because I don't have a monopoly on anything. Okay, I'm bringing you some good stuff every day. Don't get it twisted, but I don't have a monopoly on anything. And we all work better together. All right. And then if you can take anything away from me is we all work better together. And so if you can get a little bit from us and a little bit from them, you're gonna go a long way. So yeah, I work with all these people. I welcome all of them to my tent, and they welcome me to theirs. So you got over at Georgetown, you have small business corps. They developed a program to work with small businesses. Then you got Goldman Sachs, 10,000 small businesses. And, all of these programs are wonderful and they don't cost you anything. So if you can get in them, why not? Why not take advantage of it? You are broadening your circle, your network. And so you want to do that, especially if you're in business to make money. You can't go to the same 10 people you always been going to increase your profit margin. That ain't going to work, people. You got to keep selling. Another thing, and I hear this all the time, people, try to minimize other folks on Facebook and TikTok and LinkedIn and all that. Let me tell you something. If you're not advertising your business 24/7, go get a job. It's just that simple. Because I'm going to tell you something. McDonald's, and we all know McDonald's, right?
Yeah.
We all know McDonald's. McDonald's advertise 24/7, 365 on your TV, on your radio, in your magazines, in your newspaper, they're in your community. So if you're not mimicking what they're doing, you are going out of business. Okay? They're selling billions of hamburgers, making billions of dollars. So why wouldn't I do what they do?
Yeah.
If they're successful at it, everybody already knows McDonald's. If they're already successful at it, why aren't I doing the same thing? So when people say, "Oh, why is he on the Facebook again?" Well, if he's not, he's going out of business. Why is he talking about her business again? Why? Because somebody else, it might not be you, but the person behind you or next to you or in front of you doesn't know about that person's business and they need to be educated on it. So that's why they're advertising again. So if there's nothing you want to take away from today in this podcast, take this. Advertise every day, all day, and don't care what people say. right? Every day, all day, and don't care what people say. People will try to minimize what you're trying to do. And, while they're taking off from your edge and watching you sitting at the bus stop, don't be that guy sitting at the bus stop listening to people minimizing your accomplishments. Get that megaphone and blow that horn as loud as you can and beat the drum so that people know where to find you.
Yeah, no, that's great advice, Carl. These businesses or clients coming into the center, do they need to have any type of requirement or criteria to come in?
No, none whatsoever. And I tell people that all the time. You could be in the ideation stage. You got an idea. I want to be Carl's Cleaners. I want to open up a cleaners. I worked at a cleaners. I liked working at a cleaners. I think it's a good business. I like seeing people in clean clothes. I mean, whatever your motivation is, come on in and talk to us. All right? Come on in and talk to us. And we can help you build out that dream. All right? So many people before you have done it. And then let's talk about this because I just turned 65. All right. So let me tell you something. Baby boomers are going to the beach and they ain't coming back to work. Okay. They're like, yo, I'm retiring. I mean, I can't tell you how many of my friends have said, yo, I'm out this year. I had a call earlier today. The guy called me and said, I'm out. Now I'm like, yeah, I will. I'm done. I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm going fishing. And there's so many businesses, and we're not educated on this yet. There's so many business opportunities that are coming available every day. People are not selling their businesses because they're like, well, nobody wants to buy Carl's Cleaners. Yeah, that guy Joe, he sees how much money you're making in Carl's Cleaners. He wants to buy Carl's Cleaners. And so you need to think about not just closing the door and walking away, but selling the business. That is the process. You got to go through a whole due diligence process and put all your assets and liabilities, short and long term, on the table. And then, you come up with a valuation of the business, how much it should be sold for, and all that good stuff. And then somebody will come in and say, okay, well, I want to take advantage of this. Mm-hmm. And they do. Don't be afraid to sell your business, folks. And young people, don't be afraid to buy a business that is already making money. If Carl has built his cleaners or Aaron's accounting service, he's doing $350,000 a year. Why are you, Joe, going to start an accounting business in hopes of making $350 when you know good and well? You start now, you might make 25, 30, maybe 50. But this is available to buy. And you can work out a deal. Once you establish the valuation of the business, how much is it really worth? Then you can say, well, look, man, I'll pay you over 5 years for this business. Mm-hmm. Guess what? You just gave him a retirement balloon. All right? And it's not level. It's 4 years. So lift him up. Okay? You just gave him a gift. Mm-hmm. In over 5 years. Okay? That he wasn't even counting on because he was going to cut the lights off, lock the door, and walk away. And now you're coming in with a bag of money and saying, hey, over the next 5 years, so if you're doing 300 or say 250, and you say, I'm going to pay you 50 grand over the next 5 years. So you're doing 250. So you're doing 2 and you're giving him 1. I mean, he's 50, right? Mm-hmm. Let's do the math right, Carl. So you're doing 250, you give him 50, and I'm gonna teach you how to do it real quick. So you got 2, he got 50, He's happy, but you're growing your business. You're putting your spin on it. All right.
Mm-hmm.
How do you keep those same? And this is the secret formula, and I'm gonna give it to you right now. It's like I said, I gotta give you everything that's right in here. Okay, I gotta give it to you. All right, so I'm gonna give it to you and your audience. All right, and I do it all the time. So, say Joe and Aaron, this is Aaron accounting service, and Joe is buying it, right? Okay, they do a joint letter, or Aaron does a letter, sends back to all his clients. He says, hey, folks, I've enjoyed doing your taxes for the last umpteen years, 20 years, 10 years, whatever it was. Now it's time for me to retire. And I found a valuable partner who is just as educated and will provide the level of customer service that you would have been accustomed to as my client. And this is Joe. You introduce Joe and you talk about Joe, and Joe, look, hey, this is Joe. I look forward to being your accountant. I've done taxes, whatever your resume is, all that good stuff. All right, do it. Letter you sign the letter, you send it out. Over the transition period, you continue to talk to and introduce your clientele to Joe. Hopefully, when they come in, Joe's there to shake a hand because people like to be, they want to look at you, you dealing with them. They want to see, they want to touch, all that good stuff. You meet the clients, you have like a networking thing where, Joe comes in, he brings his team. If he's not bringing the team, he's just bringing everybody else that's already on the team. He's taking them, and if they want to stay, hopefully they do. He's bringing them on board, so there's continuity of service. But you're giving the people opportunity to meet you, right? As you go through this process, Joe takes over, like July 1 or whatever the date is, right? A year later, Joe sends out a nice little letter. Hey, I really appreciate being your accountant, blah, blah, blah. As we all know, our good friend Aaron is going on and he's enjoying retirement. And he said, tell y'all hello. He said, but I want to rebrand the business and I want you to help me. Here's some color schemes that I'm thinking of. Here's some names that I'm thinking of. Can you help me pick one? What have you just done? You asked me for help. So now I'm in.
Yeah.
Right? I'm in. And then we working together, I get your emails, I may send a reply, I may not, but at least you asked me my opinion. So now I'm in. So when I go to the barbershop, we talking this tax time right now, right?
Yep.
And I'm sitting in the barbershop. Man, that dude is something else. He asked me, he's like trying to do a new color scheme, rename his business, all this. And he asked me what I thought. Now, you have put out there to the people sitting around, I said, well, who's your accountant? Oh, Aaron over there at the mall over there. Oh, really? Yeah, Aaron left. I mean, it's the new guy, Joe. He's running the business. Hey, my account, I'm tight, And but more importantly, he's asking my opinion. Now you got new people sitting there going, man, what's his name again? Because I need an accountant like that that cares about me. Show you care. Network with them, go out, meet people. Don't sit in the ivory tower in the box all day and think this stuff is going to happen. It ain't going to happen like that. Got to be out there.
Yeah.
You got to be the expert.
Carl, I love this. This is great. Now, what if someone's listening? And I agree with you 100%. I think there's a great opportunity there that's untapped, that a lot of baby boomers are retiring. And depending on the size of the business, sometimes they think it's too small and they who's going to buy this, right?
Right.
Now,
Mhm.
if someone's listening to this, and let's say you're Joe and you're interested in possibly purchasing this cleaner or this accounting firm or whatever it is, how can they go about finding that business?
Oh, real easy. Come in to see us. That's one way.
Of course.
But you can go to Biz Buy Sell, BIZBUY, sell, SELL.com. They're business broker, or you can go to Trans World. They're business broker. There's a number of businesses. You can Google search or search on your whatever search engine you use. We just advertise for Google and everything. But you use a search engine. They, hey, I want to buy a business. Where are the business brokers? And you can go on their website, and the good thing about it is they got price points for everybody. 10,000, 20,000. You say, oh, well, I want to spend $10,000. They got a business for $10,000. All right. It might be ice cream cart. I mean, don't poo-poo no business, bro. Because I'm telling you, you can make money selling ice cream in the park with an ice cream cart. Believe me.
Yeah.
I mean, Good Humor and all them, Mr. Softy and all those trucks. They went around my community for many, many years. They made a lot of good money. So I don't poo-poo on no kind of business. I was a street vendor in New York City, man. Come on. I was still perfume in town. And of course, people thought, oh, well, we sold the real deal. We sold polo. We sold the real thing. I don't even mess with that. Oh, if you like polo, here's Molo. Nah, I ain't, nah. This is me. It had to be legit, okay? So we were selling all that and making money. Because people came up and I learned from one of the best. I mean, this woman taught me, and this is before I even went to Howard University, man. So that's why I was head and shoulders above the rest of them freshmen. This woman taught me how to sell. She was a street vendor like me. And she taught me how to sell. She taught me how you acknowledge all of the people around the table. All right. She would have two tacos in her hand. And she was like, would you care for some? And hit you up with just a dot, one for men, one for women. She hit you up. You smell it. Oh, yeah, I like this. She would, eye contact, acknowledge all the people around the table. And believe me, people feel good. That's why when you go in the store, I don't want you to helicopter me. All you got to do is acknowledge me. Hello. And let me go on about my business. You ain't got to ask me no questions. All right. Just let me know you're there. All right. And if I need you, I'll call you. Oh, yeah. Do you have this shirt and this size? That kind of thing. Right. These are things that I learned in the streets of New York, man. I mean, there's no better classroom than the streets of New York. I can tell you that.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn good and bad. All right. But but hey, it's all about learning, educating, motivating, innovating, and that's what we do. We provide hope for the people that come in our shop, because they come in with a dream, and we wanna help them with that dream, And so yeah, you can go to Biz Buy Sell, you can go to Trans World, you can look up and find something at your price point. You might find a McDonald's franchise for $2 million, not too far from where you live or in your community, or not too far from where you want to go. All right. They got them there because people want to sell their businesses. So they don't like it's a secret. We just didn't know. That's all. We just didn't know. And so I wouldn't use the word ignorant. We just didn't know. All right. Okay. So yeah, there's opportunity. If you got a couple of dollars, you can buy a business and not have to start from scratch. And then come in, once you buy the business, you can come into an SBDC where the services are free. And then you can work with a counselor to help you take that business to the next level. So you're doing 250 now, bang, bang, with some social media training, because we got social media specialists. and all that, you get that number growing because more people are aware. And like I said earlier, never be ashamed of promoting your business. McDonald's does it 24/7, 365 on all platforms, all platforms. Take the lead, people. If they're doing it, making billions, why not you? All right, don't be afraid. If you're afraid, all right, that's one of the other things that we try to build in the people that we work with is the confidence that they can do it. Consistency, confidence, you gotta bring in the past. I can't give you that. You gotta bring that to the table.
Mm-hmm.
I'm making the donuts. I'm selling the ice cream. I'm doing the cleaners. I'm doing the accounting. Whatever that passion is, you got to bring that to the table. But we can work with you on the confidence. We can work with you on the motivation. We can work with you on all the other things. But the compassion piece, you got to bring that. You got
I love that.
that
This is a great way to end it, Carl. Promote, promote, promote. So speaking of promoting, if people want to learn more about you and go visit you to use some of your services, where can they go to, please, to find out more information?
Go to the DCSBDC.org website. DCSBDC is DC District of Columbia Small Business Development Center.org. DCSBDC.org. Come and find us. If you're in Maryland, go to marylandsbdc.org. If you're in Virginia, go to vasbdc.org. All right, we're here for you. And if you're outside of the DMV, which you shouldn't be, because this is where it's all going down right now. But if you're outside of the DMV, and I know my man's got his thing going on all over the country, all over the world, go to Americas with an S, SBDC.org, Americas with an S, SBDC.org, and you can find your local SBDC, Small Business Development Center. And our services are free. Take advantage of the tax dollars that work while we're still here, because you never know. Well, hey, we're here now, so come on and see.
There you go. Carl, thank you so much for joining me today. Had a great time.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, man.
My pleasure. Take care.
You too.